All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive and often invisible part of scientific research. We're talking about how the European Union makes sure that the millions of animals used in labs are cared for by people who aren't just trained, but are genuinely, provably competent. You know, every single year, millions of animals are part of research projects all across Europe. And when you get right down to it, the quality of that science, and just as importantly, the welfare of those animals, it all comes down to the people working with them day in and day out. And that's the real question, isn't it? It's not about just sitting through a class and getting a certificate. It's about knowing for sure that someone has the real-world ability to do their job well, to do it humanely, and to do it effectively. And that's a huge challenge to solve. Okay, so let's get into it by first figuring out the problem they were trying to fix. Why did the EU even need a whole new framework? Well, it all boils down to a long history of really inconsistent standards. I mean, if you rewind the clock, before the mid-80s, proper formal training was pretty much a rarity. Then, even after the first EU directive came out in '86, the standards were all over the place depending on what country you were in. Fast forward to 2007, and you have experts pointing out these major differences were creating some serious issues for animal welfare and for science. And look, even way back then, experts were basically shouting from the rooftops, this is not something you can learn in a quick 2-hour webinar. Proper animal care and solid science, that takes real hands-on knowledge, not just a click-through tutorial. So, all of that inconsistency and concern set the stage for a pretty landmark solution. In 2010, the EU rolled out a new directive that was designed to get everybody on the same page with one single harmonized standard. This new rule, Directive 2010/63/EU, was a total game changer. It literally replaced that messy patchwork of different national rules with one common legal framework that every single member state has to follow. And the goals here were really smart because they all connect. First, raise the standards for animal welfare. Doing that actually helps guarantee better, more reliable science. And at the same time, by making the rules the same everywhere, it makes it way easier for skilled people to move and work across the EU. So we know why it was created. But how does this thing actually work on the ground? How does it map out that path from being a total beginner to a truly competent professional? And this right here, this is the core philosophy. The single most important idea in this entire framework. Just taking a course is only the beginning. It does not by itself make you competent. This official flowchart does a brilliant job of showing you what they mean. It lays out the whole journey. Competence isn't a one-time event. It's a process. You see, it starts with learning the theory, but then it moves into supervised practice, gaining experience, and only then a formal assessment. And it doesn't even stop there. You have to maintain those skills. So let's break that down. You start by getting the basic knowledge from formal training. Then, and this is crucial, you practice what you've learned under supervision. That's where you gain real experience. Finally, after all that, you face a formal assessment to prove you can do the work safely and effectively, all on your own. So let's really hammer this point home. Training is the input. It's the process of learning. Competence is the output. It's the proven, demonstrated ability to do the job right without someone having to look over your shoulder. Big difference. And the official definition pulls it all together perfectly. See, competence isn't just one thing. It's a combination. It's what you know, the physical skills you have, and your professional behavior and attitude, all working together to prove you can do the job well. Okay, so how is this whole system actually built? Let's pop the hood and look at the components that make it so strong. The whole thing is designed to be super flexible and tailored to what a person actually needs to do. It's not a one-size-fits-all deal. Think of it like building with Legos. Everybody starts with the same core modules, the basics. Then you add on modules specific to your job function. And if you need to do something highly specialized, like surgery, you add those specific modules on top of that. The framework breaks jobs down into 4 key roles:
or functions. Are you the person actually carrying out a procedure on an animal? Or maybe you're the one designing the whole project. Or perhaps your job is the daily care of the animals, or humanely killing them. Each one of those roles has its own unique training path to make sure you have exactly the right skills for that job.
And woven through this whole journey is supervision. This part is absolutely non-negotiable. It's the mandatory bridge you have to cross between your initial training and being allowed to work alone. They even have defined levels, from direct, hands-on supervision all the way down to none. And get this, the supervisor is personally responsible for the animal until that trainee is officially declared competent. So we've been pretty deep in the weeds here. Let's pull the camera back now and look at the big picture. Why does all this incredibly detailed stuff actually matter? Well, it all comes back to a core ethical principle in animal research, something known as the 3 Rs. The goal is always to replace animals with other methods if you can, reduce the number of animals you use, and refine every procedure to minimize suffering. And you absolutely cannot achieve those goals without competent people. And what's so powerful is how these benefits all feed into each other. It's a chain reaction. When you have truly competent staff, you get better animal welfare, period. Better welfare means happier, less stressed animals, which leads to higher quality, more reliable scientific data. And when the public knows all of this is happening, it builds trust. This quote just nails the ultimate goal, which is to foster what's known as a culture of care. That's more than just a buzzword. It's about creating an entire work environment where doing the right thing, where putting welfare first, isn't just a rule in a book. It's second nature. It's just how things are done. So let's sum this all up. The big takeaway is that competence is a journey, not a destination. It goes from training through supervision to assessment. The EU framework is the map for that journey. It's thorough, it's flexible, and it's the same for everyone. And the whole point is to weave the 3 Rs into everything, creating a true culture of care that helps both animals and science thrive. And that leaves us with a really important question for the future. Science never sits still. New technologies and new discoveries are always just around the corner. So how will this deep commitment to a culture of care continue to guide and shape the way research is done as we move forward? It's something to think about.